Welcome to RAT News. RAT standing for Reading All the News. I'm Adam. Today we're talking about the season finale of Season 2's The Flash. Season 2 ends with Zoom revealing his true plan and Barry vowing to do whatever it takes to stop him. Talking to us today to help dive into this issue more is Bobby, our Flash expert. How's it going, Bobby?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Adam. Pleasure to be here.
That finale, how about that? Holy Christ.
Wow.
A lot of things going on. Lots of things to talk about.
So much.
Well, let's start with the beginning. We come back right where the last episode left off, where Barry's father is dying in front of him. And it's in an effort for Zoom to activate something inside of Barry to make him darker and kind of come onto his side kind of thing. Is that how you perceived it to be?
You know, I was glad that they didn't pull a cheat there and that picked up right from where the last episode left off. I mean, Barry having his dad killed right in front of him after he just dealt with the death of his mom was, just super heavy. And you felt it when Barry just wanted to, crush Zoom right there and take him and punch him into a wall.
Absolutely. Just the anger inside of him becoming somebody else. This is like the darkest and angriest you've seen Barry in the entire season. And I think he pulled it off pretty well as far as being able to not go so far overboard with the anger, but just kind of just at the brink to not break who he is as Barry Allen, as the Flash. But yeah, so now we're going back and, I'm sorry, we got a breaking report. Okay, Maestro's in the field, still on Flash watch. How's it going out there, Maestro?
Doing okay. It's a little bit chilly, but I'm doing all right. We're still looking for the Flash. For some reason, I can't seem to find any people talking about it, saying that they've noticed him recently. But for some reason, there's always this weird chance of missing hats. It's weird.
Missing hats? Is that people reporting on that?
I think so. I mean, I've noticed about 4 people so far.
Are you missing a hat yourself?
No, I got a hat right now.
Okay, good. Well, at least you're not a victim of this crime. Being perpetrated by the Flash, I guess.
I know, right?
Seems out of character, but yeah, he's a jokester, you know. Thanks for that report. We'll go check back with you later, Maestro.
You guys.
All right, Bobby. Back to this episode. Where does Barry go from here? How does he deal? What does he go?
Well, I mean, first off, we had Zoom proposing a race. All right. Here's step number 1: superheroes never do the supervillain's plan. When a supervillain says, okay, I'll do what you want, but I just need you to do this one thing, don't do that one thing. And I like the fact that they addressed the fact that Barry's been getting super cocky since he came back from the Speed Force, telling everyone, don't worry, I got this, everything's gonna be okay. And he just was about to do exactly what Zoom says. And you know what, that leads to the next thing, that I'm glad that they had the balls to put Barry in a cage. Barry was getting ahead of himself.
By the way, this whole, as far as bad guy challenges go, hey, we're gonna have a race. Right. I laughed out loud when I heard him say that. As the bad guy, always trying to do bad things and kill all these people. You're gonna race me. It just seemed like such a wah wah. Out of all the things Zoom has done, a race, it felt kind of weak to me.
But it really did seem like a weak sauce sort of ultimatum. But you know what I love that they did with that is that they sort of turned it into if you're familiar with Crisis on Infinite Earths, they kind of turned Zoom into an anti-monitor at that point, with his race machine being the machine that's going to destroy the multiverse. And so because of that whole race, I mean, not to get ahead of myself, but the time remnant that Barry ended up using was such an homage to Crisis on Infinite Earths. It came out in, 86, with Barry sacrificing himself to the Speed Force to save the entire multiverse, running so fast he literally disintegrates, and that's what his time remnant did. It was a beautiful scene.
All right, I want to talk about this time remnant thing more with you, because this is something that I found the most confusing as far as this whole season went. But before we get to that, we got a report from Joe out in the streets, giving us another crime report. Joe, how's it going?
It's going good. This is Cholo coming at you live again. I got a quick subject I want to talk about is prostitution and why it's illegal. I think that's BS, man. You know what I'm saying? Cholo says no. Everybody needs love. And sometimes you got to pay for it so you can get good love. You know what I'm saying? Because it's wrong that kids have Build-A-Bear and we should have Build-A-Bear for the streets. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Crime does pay. It does pay, man.
Joe, I'm sorry. Your crime report for this segment is yay prostitution? Did I hear that correctly?
No, yay for love.
Oh, love. I see. My apologies. I took that the wrong way. Thanks, Joe. We'll check back with you later. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure. Joe, El Cholo in the streets. All right, so this time remnant thing. So, this is how they kind of explained Zoom being able to kill himself as Joe Garrick earlier in the season. That it was a time remnant that he got and convinced him to do this. And what exactly is a time remnant? Do you go back in time like half a second? Or do you find it from a different universe and bring them in? What exactly is that? Do you know?
Well, as far as I understand it, you need to go back in time and talk to a past version of yourself and then talk it into either sacrificing itself. See, that's why I think it was the difference in the plot points with Jay having his time remnants and the time wraiths coming after him and Barry having his time remnant that ultimately saved the day was because his time remnant chose to sacrifice himself, whereas Jay was killing his old time remnants. Now, again, it gives me a little bit of a headache to think about, but yeah, just going back in time and telling a past you to do something different, knowing that future you is going to kill it. But again, it's changing the time stream. There should be a paradox there, but there's not.
That's my biggest issue with it. If you go back and find a previous version of yourself and then kill it, your future version is gone. Which we kind of get into that a little bit at the end of the episode, which we'll get to in a second. But so anyway, this whole time thing, whatever. Moving on. So they do lock up Barry, but then eventually he gets let out by Wally.
Yeah.
Because Wally loves him and is like, it's kind of fucked up. So they get out. He ends up having to race against Zoom. They do the race. And then this is when Barry breaks out his own time remnant. And this is how he pretty much ends up defeating Zoom. So what that whole thing, did that work for you?
You know what? I did like the fact that they preserved the original timeline in Barry, and then also had a version of Barry give himself up to the Speed Force and sacrifice himself to save the entire world, which is part of the whole Barry Allen mythos in the comics, is that he does sacrifice himself. He believes in something bigger than himself. So I like that there was a version, that they had a version of the story that allowed for that, but it still allowed Barry to stay alive for the next season and not just have him die off.
Okay. So the next thing that we have happen then is, oh, I'm sorry, hold on. We got another report from Maestro. Maestro's out in the field looking for the Flash still. How's it going out there, Maestro?
Doing all right. It's actually caught down on the wind. It seems like there has been the calling for those hats. People have said they've been noticing them showing up recently. I'm guessing it is because of the Flash, but so far, no actual visible knowledge of actually the Flash showing up.
All right. Well, this whole story confuses me quite a bit, to be honest with you.
Yep.
I don't know where all these hats could be ending up. I mean, they're ending up somewhere, though, right?
Yes, I believe so too, but we'll find them.
All right. Well, thanks for the report, Maestro. We'll check back with you later.
You got it.
All right. I think he was wearing a bunch of hats. I think. Okay. All right. Bobby, sorry about that. So, the final thing that happens, he defeats Zoom, and then we get this kind of resolution thing where now Iris is like, hey, let's do this thing, And Flash is like, not so much. And then what Flash does next. Were you ready for this?
Last 60 seconds. Oh my God. First off, doesn't Barry know any better? I thought he just learned, don't mess with the time stream. All that stuff. He just made peace with his mom dying. He just saw his dad die and went to the funeral. The last 60 seconds, he's gonna go back and save his mom? The whole thing that we saw in season 1, the whole reason for the Flash being there, he doesn't realize that this is a horribly bad idea.
Yes, it's really bad. And even while it's happening, you see Flash in the closet there, like he was back in season 1, where he was there to stop himself, but then ended up not stopping himself. And then you start seeing that image fade, and it's, so he starts fading. So that means that version of the Flash is disappearing. But what happens to this version now?
That's what I'm entirely confused about. At the end of season 1, we see Barry go back to where Barry's fighting Reverse Flash. Then Barry goes back and sees that, and then is waved off by another Flash, ready with the white symbol. So is that the Flash that's going to be at the end of season 3, waving off the Barry? There are so many Flashes there, in that one moment of time, that I can't keep track of them.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? What can we expect from season 3 then?
Well, we got to talk about Flashpoint.
Yes, we do.
Flashpoint Paradox, DC animated movie. It deals with this exact subject. Barry goes back in time, saves his mom. But you know what? He doesn't even remember doing it. The whole story, spoiler if you haven't seen it, he wakes up and And is there a draft? You got screen doors in here, right?
You got that too over there? Weird.
But no, he all of a sudden he wakes up, he doesn't have his speed force anymore. And everything is different. He's all of a sudden just a regular cop. But the fact that he saved his mom has a ripple effect through time, stops him from ever becoming the Flash, stops Bruce Wayne from surviving the bullet that killed, the bullets that kill his parents. I mean, there's so many changes to the entire universe because Barry doesn't become the Flash. That's a horribly different universe. And that he has to go and let his mom die to make it right. It's a dark and twisted story. It's almost Shakespearean.
Yeah, but by the way, if you have not seen the Flashpoint Paradox, it's something that I would recommend. It is pretty good as far as animated films go. In fact, I like more things in that than I did in the actual real-life Flash season, but that's a whole different conversation. But towards the end of that, we get the explanation that that from Reverse Flash, which is Thrum, telling Barry that that one change had a sonic boom through time, where like you said, Bruce Wayne is dead, and his dad is now Batman, but this is destroying the whole thing to the point where. He has to then go back in time to fix what happened, and so it did create this whole paradox. But like it did in the Flash paradox, it made Flash disappear. He wasn't Flash anymore. He was just Barry Allen.
Well, you know what? If I can get meta here, one theory that I've seen put online, which I really like, is they're trying to unify the universe. The DCW, as I like to call it. You have Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and now Supergirl from CBS is moving to the CW. So what people are theorizing is that maybe this whole Flashpoint Paradox will culminate in all of the universes meshing into one, so they won't be on separate worlds. One take on that I like to imagine is that Barry, by causing this paradox, realizes that he created the Zack Snyder murderverse, and realizing how horrible it is, immediately goes back and willingly murders his own mother.
Right. Now, this whole thing with the time travel is something that I've always been very finicky about. In fact, Maestro, are you still out there in the field, Maestro?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Cool. Can you confirm that I am very particular about my time travel theories and how they should work and how they shouldn't work and what would be effective, what wouldn't be effective? That's something that I've always talked about. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Maestro. We'll check back with you later. So. The way that this whole Flash thing is supposed to happen, the way the future gets affected by the past is it's very tricky, and I feel like there's no real way to get out of this while still having a Flash TV show, because Flash is now gone. Unless they maybe imitate the Flashpoint Paradox, but at that point you're going to need to get Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, all these people in, which I don't think they could do on this TV show.
Well, you know, one of my theories is Arrow has been kind of a stand-in for Batman in the DCW. If they do mess around with Flashpoint, I think that Barry's going to find himself having no powers, being a reality where Iris is not in love with him, so he loses that love, and that maybe Oliver is the one that died and his dad was the one that became the alcoholic Arrow, as like Thomas Wayne did in the animated story.
They did talk about that in when they were on Earth 2. That's what actually happened.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of season 2. But anyway, we're just about out of time here, but thanks for checking in with us, Bobby. We'll be sure to check in with other TV shows, and we're going to have a lot of other conversations about this whole time travel thing after this. What in the world? Did you see that? What? Did anybody else see that? Damn it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go to our YouTube channel, Rat Pack Productions. Subscribe, like, hit all the buttons that mean good things. Go to our Facebook page also. Like our Facebook page, Rat Pack Productions. And send us emails, show@ratpackpodcast.com. Make sure you go to dromebox.com to tune in live for all the cool stuff they got at Drome, all the amazing shows.